So, on a personal level, I have to admit that, I'm a little biased. I want you to win. And I want you to win for many reasons. One, you are, in my history of, dealing with, in education, like the single best principal I've ever observed. And I got to observe you as a principal at LVCP when my son went there for his senior year. To be fair, I wasn't sure what to expect from you or LVCP because, quite honestly, as having a black son in a school that's, quite white, I was worried. Not a lot, but, it's something you're going to take into concern. And then every black parent's nightmare occurs when someone calls him the N-word and he's upset, and I'm confused, his mother's upset. And so to observe how you and the rest of the staff dealt with that situation was unprecedented for me to observe. I had already liked you at that point, to be fair, but to see how you navigated that was truly impressive. And that was when I really understood that you understood way more than just how to run a school, right? Because I think there's the clinical, how do you run a school on a textbook thing, and then there's the, how do you actually run a school when things are not going right, when people aren't communicating, when emotions are high. Mm-hmm. And I was really impressed by that, I thanked you then, I thank you now, and it's one of the reasons why I have a lot of faith in you and what you can do for Alameda County.
I really appreciate that, and it always brings me this close to tears when I hear that story.
Dude, it was a tough moment, bro.
And I think to fully understand what you just said, I need to tell a little bit about myself and my context and perspective of life. And we've had this conversation. I am of the Generation X, and my generation, your generation, we were the first group of kids to grow up in a post-segregated United States, right? And growing up in the 80s and 90s and being exposed, I grew up all over the place. I lived in the Midwest, I lived in the Deep South, I've been out here on the West Coast, the best coast, right? For about almost 10 years now. And I've seen how, and my parents were very open-minded, and they taught my sister and I to see people for who they are. Mm-hmm. And to, you always want to take a person in totality and from what their life perspective brings. Empathy, right? You want to see how others live life, stand in their shoes, look through their eyeballs. And if more people did that, if you just stopped, breathed, and saw yourself through their eyes, put yourself in their shoes, people would start to understand just what folks are struggling with.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
And how we really do have more in common than we have differences. We truly, truly do. I'm a proud member of the American nation. I know that it hasn't always been perfect, but I believe in the American idealism, and I believe in our experiment. I'm an old history teacher, so I get sort of romantic about this, but I believe that what we're doing together as one nation is we're bringing different groups, cultures. We've always done it this way, and we've never really perfected the amalgamation, like the mixing, to be harmonious. And I think we're getting closer to that. We are stronger together. It's stand together or fall divided.
Yeah.
And that's simply true. And I really do believe in people helping people. And I have a heart for people. And I have a heart for people that struggle. I always have. I always root for the underdog, and I always rebel against injustice. No matter what it may be. It could be something small, it could be something large, but I see myself as a person trying to make the world the place I want to live in, that I want my daughter to live in, I want your son to live in. Yeah. And we do need to stop, think, breathe, and put ourselves in positions of thinking how things are for other people. Simple strategy. If we could do that, we'd have less strife. We would have less racial tension. It exists here in the Tri-Valley. It absolutely exists here. It exists through Castro Valley into the East Bay, up through Oakland, down to Fremont. Mm-hmm. There is racial tension everywhere. We feel it. We know it's there. And I think there are ways to mitigate that, and there are ways to come together to help each other out. And I really, truly see myself being that person. If I were to be elected to the Alameda County Board of Education, I would represent everybody, and I would help everybody according to their needs.
Yeah,
right. So
that's cool.
yeah, thank you for that question, and thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, no, it's true.